At this point, most of us know that a Zelda movie is in pre-production at Illuminations. We know that because I made that announcement on the Renegade Online show last Sunday, and then also we had confirmation of that 4 days later coming out of Giant Freaking Robot. But now I have a source that has worked on both the Zelda games and is working on the movie, and I'm ready to break down exactly what we know at this point that can be revealed about this project. Let's dive straight in. As we get started, it's important to note that there are a few things making Nintendo quite the impressive piece of property when it comes to studios wanting to do business with them. First of all, many of the Western markets are looking at Western intellectual properties that are damaged. We're talking about stuff like Star Wars. We're talking about stuff like Marvel. We're talking about stuff like DC. We can keep going down through this list, but there's a lot of weakness in the Western intellectual properties, especially when it comes down to boys and the things that they like to consume. And so many of these companies are looking for intellectual properties out of Japan that offer something better. Now, the interesting thing about that is Nintendo is on a string of very good news. They've got quite the spree going on. First of all, the Mario movie coming out is, as of right now, looking like it's going to be a true box office darling. This is outperforming so far in projections, even their best estimates going back 6 months ago. At the same time, the reception of Super Nintendo World at both the Japanese Universal Studios and now Hollywood is off the charts. And it really is surprising people just how popular Nintendo happens to be. Well, that's not such a surprise because we know that Mario has brand recognition that's on par with Mickey Mouse. There are not very many intellectual properties that are like that. Mario is one of them. But the great news for those who want to deal with Nintendo, and by the way, they're going to have to get some things in order as they prepare to go forth into Western markets with a roadmap ahead. But the good news for those who want to deal with Nintendo is that it's not just Mario that has that high level of brand recognition. It's also properties like Zelda, like Kirby, like Star Fox, like Samus in Metroid, like Donkey Kong Country, and we can keep going and going. The very interesting thing and perhaps unique thing about Nintendo is they have many interconnected franchises that all exist inside this Nintendo world. And so, as we're moving forward now and having the knowledge that a Zelda movie is likely on the way, and indeed is in pre-production at this point, according to multiple sources, I guess you could say now, I'd like to get into sort of what I know about the movie, which is actually farther into development than I had anticipated a week and a half ago when I broke the news. Again, this information is coming from a source who has worked on the games in the past and is working on the movie. I can't go any more specific than that, and I also cannot tell you whether or not this individual works at Nintendo or works in Nintendo's spheres of partners and influences. However, I can tell you that I have this individual's identity corroborated, but I can't verify the information for you. You'll just have to take a look at my track record and determine for yourself whether or not you want to go along with this. Right now, it is specifically rumor and speculation. Here's what the source has informed me of. First of all, Zelda has had quite a bit of research done in terms of preparing this for being turned into a movie. It is going to be this is not a surprise, but a sword and sorcery genre, and it's also seen as a great opportunity to get into the fantasy genre, into the fantasy realm, in a property that can elicit excitement out of multiple generations. One of the things that I found interesting, what the source tells me, is that Zelda, when it comes to the script, one of the project guidelines is to keep it simple. They do not want this movie to be overly complex or to go into convoluted storylines. They don't want it to feature chases for MacGuffins that don't make any sense. They want to keep it simple, and they want to make it easy to understand for everybody. And I can verify that they have access to the information. Here's the other thing I can tell you about Zelda, which I find to be very fascinating. There is a company out there that is vested in the idea of helping develop the NCU that you would not expect. And by that, I mean the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. And this company has an interest in Zelda. Are you ready for the name of this company? It's really, you probably wouldn't expect it. It's McDonald's. And according to the source that I have, McDonald's is very interested in the NCU because of how well Mario and all of its characters perform whenever they do a Happy Meal promotion that features the Mario world. The idea then that they could branch out and do more and be involved in an NCU means that McDonald's is very keen on that. Simultaneously, it is a great sign to everybody else who's wanting to work on building up this NCU, which won't just be Nintendo, it will be a bunch of companies. But that's a great sign for them, is that the response in multiple domains is big. Think about it. You've got the Super Nintendo world at Universal Studios doing very well. You have the movie now being well received in terms of previews and anticipation. Also, you have the Happy Meals doing extremely well. And of course, we know that all of this stuff is very popular in video game form and has been for generations now. So lots of things going on. Finally, according to the source, they are very interested in making the Zelda movie be fully immersive into the world of Hyrule and having it be its own version. That was something brand new that was relayed to me. I did not know what they were going to do in terms of how they would present the world of Zelda, how they would present Link and all of the characters surrounding it. Would they go with the NES, SNES games? Would they go with the art style of Ocarina in Time? Would they go with Breath of the Wild? And all of those have different stories surrounding them and different timelines. And it's very complicated if you want to try to figure out how they all link together, pun not intended. But it seems that according to the script guidelines and project guidelines that are coming out as they're beginning to lay the foundations for the movie, they want to do something that is new, so it may be an amalgamation of all of those Zelda properties. It may bring in a lot of those different pieces into something that all generations can, and certainly I think that's a fantastic idea. I can also report that, and this is probably very clear, but I can also report that this is a CGI movie. It is not an animated movie in terms of traditional animation. It is not animated in any sort of anime style. It is not a live action film. It is indeed CGI. And likely, because it's in CGI, it is going to be in the style that you see with the Mario movie, although probably not quite so cartoonish. The final thing that I can tell you, based on what my source is telling me, is that for right now, the strategy is to release these Nintendo movies and have them exist in their own worlds, i.e., although we might get some cameos from other Nintendo characters in the Super Mario Bros. Movie, it's not going to lead directly into a Zelda film. And, just the same way, vice versa, Zelda, when it comes out, will not have a direct correlation to Mario, although it may have some Easter eggs. However, if all of this is highly successful, and the number that I have been saying, that I have been told is $700 million for Mario, we don't know what the milestone number would be for Zelda, but if these movies are making their milestones, if they're making their achievements at the box office and then beyond, then eventually what they want to do is bring these movies into an NCU style format, just like with the MCU, where the Avengers tie all of this together and you begin seeing crossovers. But to start off with, they want to do these films separately so that they stay unique and exciting to people who love those franchises all by themselves. It's a short video today, but that's the information that I have on the Zelda movie from a source that, again, I can corroborate the identity. I will not reveal the identity for obvious reasons, but this source has been working on the Zelda games in the past and working on this Zelda movie as well as other stuff surrounding Zelda. And I can trust this source pretty well. That said, once again, final reminder, this does need to go under the rumor and speculation category because, for obvious reasons, I can't give you the information directly so that you can go, aha, it is absolutely true. And also, it should be said that we're dealing with a product that has not yet even been formally announced, so things can change, although a lot of money is being poured into getting this right, and that's what they're setting up right now, is pouring that money in to make sure that they develop the very best Zelda game they can and capture the attention of all those boys and girls who would be in love with a fantasy setting that is simple to understand and operates using CGI. Perhaps it will be the next How to Train Your Dragon. Perhaps it will be even bigger. I suspect that could be true, as there's already a built-in brand recognition that will bring in families and multi-generations. All right, that is the video. Make sure that you hit the like button, the subscribe button, hit that little notification bell, and ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, wherever you are, keep having fun.